Friend, you did it. You ended the affair, and maybe part of you thought, there, now I can finally move on with my life. But instead, are you finding yourself feeling a little emotional, conflicted, overwhelmed, maybe even just lost? Because no one really talks about this part. What happens after your decision to confess, to cut contact, to move on? What do you actually do in these first few days and these first few weeks? So if you are the woman who never imagined that this would be your story, and now you're here wondering, okay, but now what? This episode is for you. Do you ever find yourself Googling, how do I stop thinking about him? Or have you ever started your day determined to keep no contact, only to feel pulled right back into the same patterns and shame? Welcome to Intimacy After Infidelity. You're not crazy for feeling this way. I'm Christina Joy, and I've been exactly where you are. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed by shame and wonder if dignity and peace are actually possible for you. I tried to fix myself by trying harder and committing to more self-control, but what I actually needed was healing from Jesus, who met me in the middle of it all. And that's what this podcast is here to help you do too. In this space, we heal the soul, heart, mind, and body, and we talk about the real things like longing, grief, shame, and confusion. So take a deep breath, friend. You are safe here. Hey friend, before we get too far, I want to answer a question that I know is already forming in your mind. When you see a title like this, a step-by-step guide for what to do, I know that you're already asking, okay, but how do I actually do this? Because here's what most women do in this season, myself included. We try to piece everything together on our own. Tell me, have you listened to the podcast? Have you journaled? Have you prayed? Have you sought wise counsel? You've done all the things. And you're still sitting there thinking, am I doing this right? Why do I still feel the pull to go back? Why does this feel so much harder than I expected? And the truth is, you are trying to navigate one of the most emotionally complex seasons of your life without the clear path. Friend, that is exactly why I created Rooted in Joy, a 6-month journey, a path for women who are rebuilding their identity and their life after infidelity. Because instead of guessing your way through this, it's like you have all of the puzzle pieces, but you have no clue what that picture is. So instead of that, here you get a step-by-step guide for what healing actually looks like. You get support in real time when your emotions feel all over the place. You get a safe space where you don't have to explain or defend your story. And you get guidance that helps you move forward faster without staying stuck in the patterns and the cycles. Friend, this is your path to freedom. Not because it makes anything easier, but because you're not doing it alone. Okay, so let's walk through this together today. What are the steps that you need to actually begin moving forward? Let me tell you, ending the affair is not the finish line to anything. It's actually the starting line. And those first few days and weeks that follow are more important than you think. So, step 1, I hope you have paper and pencil ready. Here we go. Step 1, I just want to ask the question, how is your heart? Let's get all of you on the same page. Okay, before we talk about your marriage, before we talk about logistics, before we talk about anything external that's happening in your world, we need to talk about you. Because no one has probably told you, just because you ended the affair doesn't mean that every part of you is on board with that decision. When I ended mine, I still cried a lot because there was a part of me that still missed him. And I didn't expect that. Everybody tells you that when you come out of the hiding, when you stop lying, you're going to feel so free, like this burden is just going to disappear. I thought I was going to have relief and closure and finality, but instead I found myself sitting with grief. And at the same time, I felt pressure to be 100% available to my husband, to support him, to comfort him, to show up however he needed. Because after all, I was the one who hurt him. But here's what no one told me. I had needs too. And there were moments where I would be there for him, holding space, supporting him, loving him through his healing. And then I'd go into my alone time with God and I'd think, but who's holding me? And inside of me at that time, there were so many conflicting voices. One part still wanted to reach out to my affair partner. One part knew that I was choosing myself and my future. One part knew that I wanted to plan my next season. One part just wanted to sit quietly with Jesus. One part wanted to give everything I had to my husband. And one part knew that he had his own healing work that he needed to walk through. One part of me felt so strong, and another part of me felt so much shame. One part needed to cry and grieve, and one part wanted to feel light and free because I was finally living in the truth. So here's what I realized. If I tried to force myself into no contact, or, white knuckle this and just grit my teeth and power through it, I knew that my decision wouldn't last. Number one, because it hadn't lasted for all of the years prior to this, but also because I knew that healing, true healing and transformation of my heart, that wasn't going to happen through willpower. What I learned was that it happens through living in alignment, by bringing all of the parts of you into honesty and allowing God to meet you there with compassion and with curiosity. So before we go anywhere else, I want you to ask yourself, how is my heart really? Don't give me the answer that you think you should give. I just want the real one. And friend, if you need help here, I actually created a resource, a free resource for you called Your Not So Average Guide to No Contact. And it talks about this idea of trying to end the affair, trying to come clean with your spouse, and how to not lose yourself in the middle. Because cutting contact is not just about your behavior, it's about your heart. So you can grab that now. The link is in the show notes. Step number 2, decide how you're willing to show up in your marriage, if that is still the situation for you. Once you've started to get honest with yourself, then we can start to look outward, specifically if you're still in a marriage. And this part requires intentionality, not perfection, but some clarity. Your husband is going to have needs and questions and requests and maybe some expectations. And instead of reacting in the moment, it's helpful to decide ahead of time, what am I willing to offer him right now? For me personally, one of the hardest areas for me was physical intimacy. Because if I'm being honest, I hadn't felt safe in my marriage for a while. And so, of course, physical intimacy was also going to be really tender. It really just needed some compassion, not pressure. Another stretch for me was vulnerability, letting myself be seen, my emotions, all of it. And also answering questions really honestly and rebuilding trust. And then even navigating the balance between being open without abandoning myself. So I had a lot that I was trying to navigate in that season. How do I show up honestly, authentically in my marriage? So here are some things for you to consider. Are you open to sharing your location? Are you open to being transparent with your phone and your emails and your passwords? Are you open to marriage counseling and or individual coaching or therapy? And are you open to having hard conversations, maybe when they're inconvenient and maybe more than you want to have? So again, this is for you to sit with to say, what am I willing to do? Maybe you're willing to carve out a sacred space to have a tough conversation one night a week. And can you explain to your husband, this is what I'm able to do right now? I'm not able to have a conversation when it's bedtime and I'm trying to juggle the kids. And that's not a great time to ask me the questions. So sit down by yourself and think, what am I open to doing? What am I not able to do right now? And then communicate that as well. Also, a couple other questions for you. Where do you need to move slowly? Maybe you're not ready for physical intimacy right away. Okay, have a conversation about that. Where do you need to move slowly? And where could you use some support? Because just like you are trying to provide support for your spouse, friend, you also need some support, and there is no shame in that. Okay, also, where do you need to communicate? I want to meet you here, but I need to do it in a way that's sustainable. Remember what I just said a minute ago? I knew that willpower and white knuckling was not sustainable. It was not going to help me keep my decisions and my new habits. So, what are you willing to do that is sustainable? Friend, you have nothing to prove here. In this season, you are now trying to rebuild something beautiful. And so it takes honesty. Honesty is kindness. And show up in your marriage like that as well. Okay, step number 3. What is most important next? Clear your plate for a season of healing. This step, it might be the one that changes everything for you. Because most women are trying to heal while maintaining everything else. Work, schedules, obligations, expectations, the kids, the dinners, the sports practices. Friend, I get it. I have and had all of those things too. I get it. But imagine this, if you were in a serious car accident, you wouldn't just go home and jump back into normal life. You would rest. You would allow yourself some space for healing. You would allow space for recovery. And this is no different. Just because you were not physically in a car accident, this is still emotional and spiritual and relational. And by the way, this was probably also physical for you too. Your brain, your heart, your soul, your body, they need space. So I am not telling you that you need to up and quit your job tomorrow. Maybe for some of you, that is a question if that needs to happen. I'm not telling you to do that. What I am asking you to do is just evaluate, what can I just pause on for a little while so that I can actually focus on my healing. For me, that's what really saved me in those early weeks. I created intentional time to be alone with God. I had little ones at school. I had a young baby who was napping. And every day, Monday through Friday, I had a 2-hour block where I could sit at the kitchen table and I could do what I needed to cry, to journal, to open my Bible, to go for a short walk around the block. Whatever I needed in that day, I was able to do. It was not about producing and achieving and working harder. It was just about being alone with God, to feel my emotions, to not try to rush through the healing. So in your situation, it might look like getting some extended time on the weekends. It might look like a couple of hours on an evening. It might look like 20 minutes carved out daily. Whatever it is, be intentional. Because if you don't create a space for healing, life will fill it for you. This is important, and put it in your calendar as important, your healing time. Okay, step number 4, things you need to be doing right away. Friend, please find a safe community. Do not try to do this alone. There was a season where I did feel very alone, and in that season, I felt stuck because it kept me believing no one else has this story. No one else feels this way. I must be an awful Christian. I don't get a future like other people. I searched for the resources and I kept asking, will this help me? Will this actually work? And I could not find anything that said, here are the next steps, until I started to find pockets of safe community. Then everything started to change. The shame started to lift. I realized I wasn't crazy. I wasn't actually alone. I wasn't this awful person that was beyond God's love and forgiveness. What I did was not okay. There was real hurt and real damage. But also, I needed to know that there was hope, that there was the potential for healing and a good future. And friend, your body is literally wired to heal in safe connection. Shame isolates you, and healing happens in community. Let me give you one more thing, because this really matters. In these first few weeks, it is not your job to decide the future of your marriage. I know that question is pounding in your brain. Are we going to stay together? Is this going to work out? Should we end this? Should we separate? Should we push through it? What are we going to do? Friend, those are not day 1 questions. Actually, those are not even week 2 questions. And those aren't really even week 6 kinds of questions. Right now, at least for the first 6 weeks, your focus is getting stable, learning to live in honesty, healing all the parts of you, and finding safe support. The future will become clearer as you walk out this process. So, maybe you're listening to all of this and saying, okay, these steps sound great, but how do I actually do it? How do I actually stay consistent with no contact? How do I actually navigate this stuff in my marriage or my relationship without losing myself? How do I actually create space for healing? Because sure, it sounds great to take a week-long vacation. How do I do it when I'm working, my husband's working, and we have kids and all the things? And how do I actually find safe people that I can trust? And sister, this is where you don't have to do it alone. If you are looking to walk this out in community with safe women, That's exactly what I'm here for. So if you are ready to stop carrying this alone, come talk to me. Let's see what is the next right step for you. Maybe it is joining Rooted in Joy, where you can walk with other women, where you're not judged, you're not labeled, but you're supported and guided and reminded of who you truly are. This is your path to freedom. Maybe your next right step is reaching out to get a copy of this not so average guide to no contact. How can I do it differently this time so it actually sticks? Friend, I am here for all of it. And if you love listening to the podcast, I would encourage you to even jump back to episode 74. Where do I even start with healing after my affair? So if you are wondering what is the next right step for you, I would love to chat with you more. So send me a message on Instagram, find me on Facebook, send me an email, and I would love to connect with you. Can I pray for you? God, be with my sister now. Be with her in this new beginning. Calm her anxious thoughts, steady her beating heart, and guide her very next step. Father, remind her she's not alone and she does not have to figure this out all at once. Lead her into your truth, your healing, and your freedom. Thank you for loving us. In your name we pray. Amen.